Golf YouTube channels. While many of us know the large channels like Rick Shields, Peter Finch, or GM Golf, there are also a large number of smaller channels churning out content equally as good. In this interview, I sit down with Dougie Barnard. Dougie grew up in Indiana where he became a state tennis champion in high school before moving on to Notre Dame. There, he was an All-American student athlete, winning numerous singles and doubles events while getting his law degree. Dougie is now married to his beautiful wife Olivia, moved to Atlanta, Georgia, has competed in bodybuilding events, now has turned his attention to golf. We discuss the Masters being played in the fall, why he does so much golf travel, his playing with the Bogey Brothers, and the future of his channel. So Doug, it's great. This is the first time we actually get to meet. I know that we have chatted an awful lot. I know you watch some of my videos. I've watched a lot of your videos as well. And I know we converse a lot. So thanks a lot for joining me today. This is
thanks for having me. It's nice to kind of make productive use out of this time where everyone's kind of just, holed up at home. So I appreciate you inviting me out to this.
Yeah. So what is it for you? I know, in the United States, the conditions or the requirements are not dictated by the federal government, and a lot of it's done by the various states. And I know that, like Georgia, I believe, was one that things were pretty good for a while. So are you able to get out and play now, or is that not something you can do? Or
yes. So for the most part, courses remain open. We had different orders kind of passed down, and currently we're under a shelter-in-place order. So, the governor issued a shelter-in-place order for at least 2 weeks, probably extended beyond that. But there are certain types of businesses that can remain open, and golf courses are one of those businesses because golf is construed as exercise. So you're allowed to leave your home, to go to the grocery, pharmacy, etc. But also if you just want to exercise, that could be running to the park. That could also be driving and walking and playing golf. So for the time being, I can and have been getting out to exercise and walk and play some golf.
Well, that's great. Yeah, I recently did a video talking about how you could do this safely, really, because, golf is different than a lot of other sports. You really actually don't even have to be with anybody. And even if you are, you tend to be quite a distance anyways. And really, you don't have to come in contact with very much. So, and of course, walking a golf course, I don't know, are they still doing carts and riding where you're at, or is it walking only?
No, right now you can still take a cart, and they're doing one person per cart and kind of thoroughly washing down carts. And so that's kind of been an extra burden on the golf courses. It's tough to kind of run a course when you're not used to having one person per cart, and people still want to drive and everything. So it's a lot of extra work on their end, but fortunately, there's strict health procedures and guidelines for how they kind of clean and make sure that the carts are ready to be put back into circulation only once it's safe to do so. Right.
Yeah. I know there's a lot of businesses that are coming up with ways to try and make things safe so people can still keep doing things. And I think that's great. Well, I know, of course, Georgia is the home of the Masters. And
that's right.
This is supposed to be the Masters week. And, the Masters means so much to me for a lot of different reasons. It is a time, usually I kind of take this week off from what I'm doing work-wise. I block it off so I can watch all the coverage online, on TV, all of it, right? Just absolutely love it. I know that the Masters is actually probably the major that I've actually been to the most. And I haven't been to many of them to start with, but that one I've been to a number of times. I remember the first time was when I was down at I went to University of Alabama, and our golf team went up to Augusta to see it. And now, I'm going to sound a little old, but back in the day, 30 plus years ago when I was there, that it wasn't easy. It wasn't hard to get into. The tournament was difficult still-ish, but you could go to the practice rounds. It was back when you could actually just show up and get into the practice rounds. And the practice rounds, if you went on Monday, it cost $5 for a ticket. And if you went in on Tuesday, it was $10, and Wednesday was $15. So as a team, we would go up and for a couple of days, and we would rent a hotel room, and there would be like 4 of us in there. And it was just a cheap little motel about an hour plus away. and we'd get up at like 4 in the morning and be there and wait in line, and before they would let the gates open, and just spend the whole day there. And it really didn't cost that much. And I mean, it's, if you've ever been there, even if you haven't been there, you kind of understand. But if you've ever been there, I mean, it is a religious experience for a golfer. It is like kind of the home, and it's just so beautiful. And have you ever been able to go?
No, I haven't. I
No.
haven't had the good luck of winning the lottery.
Yeah, I
But
know. That's
have you been to any tournament rounds, or have you mainly been to the
I've
practice?
only been to the practice because getting
Okay.
the tickets have always been hard. Actually,
Right.
when uh, my last year of college was in '90, and then my father died in December of '93. But it was actually so after college, I went down to Florida to play the mini tours for a while. I came
Uh,
back, and in the spring of '93, I'd said, "Hey, Dad, we should go down and see this," because he'd always wanted to see the golf course, and so we went down to see it as well. And that was, of course, the last year that he had seen the Masters. Went down for the practice round, and so I went down the following year, I believe it was, with uh, a lady who then became my wife, my first wife, and and I haven't been back since. But it's so hard to get into nowadays, and I'm wondering. I mean, I don't know if you've heard. I mean, you've heard that the Masters has thankfully been rescheduled, not
right.
until November. But have you heard anything down there as far as the ability to like get tickets? I mean, obviously, it's completely different time of the year. There's a lot of international travel. Are they saying anything down there about being able to get either practice round or regular uh, day
No,
tickets?
I haven't heard anything as far as what's going on in November. I don't know if there will be different rules and access for the tickets given the time of the tournament, but I think it's probably standard protocol, the same process. My guess is that the individuals that won the lottery for tickets for the original tournament that'll be honored for November, but I'm not exactly sure.
Yeah, I know they're supposed to be. I just didn't know. Like, it's so hard, even if you go, just to have a hotel room can be hard to do. That I didn't know if how quickly the word has gotten out about people just saying I can't go or whatever. Because it's something you have to plan quite a bit in advance as far as not only booking
Right,
hotel rooms but just taking off if you work or whatever. So
right.
yeah. Well, November obviously is not April down there.
That's
So
true.
so what and I know that the Augusta is a golf course that is Bermuda grass. It is not up here. It's not a bent or rye that is supposed to be Bermuda. So actually in the spring it's all overseeded. How are the golf courses in November down there? Is the Bermuda still okay, are they all overseeded by that time and green from the overseed?
Yeah, I think it kind of depends on the course, like you were talking about, and kind of how the maintenance crew and the superintendent want to deal with things. But I think, given that it will be, the Masters, it's not just what Augusta National typically looks like in November. I think they'll kind of do everything that they can to get it as green as possible.
Yeah. I was wondering because like when I looked at the schedule, like when they came out with the revamped schedule, like I mean these guys are going to play a lot of high power golf for about 8 weeks straight. I think they have like a 1 week break in like about a 7 week span between the Ryder Cup, the PGA, the US Open, the playoffs, the Tour Championship. And then
Right.
they get like a breather of like about a month or so before they get to the Masters. And I had to figure like it had to have something to do with when they could actually get the course to look good, right? Because I mean, Augusta is closed during the summer, right?
Yeah, I believe that's right.
Yeah, because it's pretty incredible. So, have you had a chance to look at what the new schedule is with the?
Yeah, I have. I think it's crazy. From my perspective, it'll be interesting to have golf go on longer in the year. We're so used to kind of it building up with all the majors and then FedEx Cup and then the Tour Championship, and then it's like, okay, kind of the season's a little bit over, but now it's just moved back, and so I'm kind of curious to see what that will be like to be able to watch golf in the fall.
Yeah,
I think it'll be kind of an interesting experience.
yeah, it is going to be different. Well, I know that on your channel, that over the year or so, I guess it's been about 8 or 9 months since you've had your current
Started in
channel
July.
in
Yeah,
July?
started in July. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's right.
okay. And I know that you do a lot of different things in your channel. You've done a lot of various challenges and playing with guys, but you've also done a lot where it seems like you travel an awful lot to play golf, seeing different courses. Um,
Right.
how why do you do that? I mean, it is unusual, I think, for
Right.
many YouTubers. Generally, they tend to play the very close golf courses. I know that that's what
Right.
I do. I don't travel for just for golf. But I'm a little bit different. I'm more of a competitive golfer. Everything I do is kind of centered around playing competitively. But
Right.
how is it? Or I guess it must be very important for you to travel a lot because to play and see different golf courses.
Yeah, so I'm not from Atlanta. I moved here once I got married, and so I'm kind of still exploring and kind of mapping out the kind of the golf around us, and that's kind of led me to figure out, okay, what courses are on my list that I want to go play, and then as I'm going and playing those courses, I think it'd be hard for me not to kind of share that experience. If I have one chance to play such a beautiful course, I definitely want to kind of do a course vlog and share that. So like being in Atlanta, I grew up in the Midwest in Indianapolis, and I know all the golf courses kind of in that little area. But now being in the South here, I kind of feel like I just have an appetite to kind of see more places, and knowing that there's just so many high quality golf courses within a 4 hour drive of Atlanta. I mean, you can go over towards South Carolina, you can go to Aiken, you can go south, you can go over to Alabama, and that's what I've been doing a little bit. Is just kind of exploring some of the Alabama courses because the Robert Trent Jones Trail is just the gift that keeps on giving. I mean, like
Yeah,
the
there aren't too
courses
many
are
bad ones there.
there's a lot of courses and they're reasonably priced, and the fact that I can just drive over easily, in 2 to 3 hours and be at some of these courses is pretty awesome. And then obviously with the passion for making golf videos, that's kind of a natural thing for me. Is that I don't really play golf just to play golf anymore. I kind of play it to also document and share it.
Yeah. So I seen that you talk about driving within 4 hours, but California is not 4 hours away. And
That's true.
recently, it's closer to 4 hour flight actually. So you recently did a series of videos. You went out and saw the Bogey Brothers recently. How was that?
That was awesome. Yeah, I had this like itch to get out to California for a long time. I've been talking to my wife and just saying like, I really want to go spend a weekend in San Diego. I've been talking to some friends, and then it just all kind of came together. And once I booked flights and things, I talked to the Bogey Brothers. So it wasn't necessarily a trip just to go out and do a YouTube collab. That'd be a very expensive way to collab with other YouTubers. It was just I want to be in San Diego, and then while I'm there, that's the great thing about golf and social media is just it makes the world so small, so that when you do travel, and if you're very active on Instagram and other platforms, it's easy to kind of connect with other people. And the golf community is just such a very open and collaborative space that it was great that I got to see those guys and make a few videos with them.
Yeah. Well, I know that I've had my channel up and running since about January of last year, I guess, and I've interacted with a lot of YouTube golfers out there, and I just really not only them, but there's a number of people that are fans or subscribers that comment and
Right.
stuff, and it's really cool how it really is a community of people that just love golf, appreciate what you do or what you're doing for them, and that we just seem to want to help and support each other quite a bit. I mean, I get quite a bit of it, and I'm a really tiny channel, and I take it you obviously are connecting with a lot of people.
Yeah, I think it's great. I mean, I think YouTube is awesome. What I appreciate about Instagram is just the ability to just have direct conversations, like not public comment back and forth, but you can just have private conversations of people where they live, where they're from, what courses they've played. So I kind of wish that YouTube maybe had that functionality that you could just message someone directly there who's kind of found your content. But I guess that's what Instagram's for.
Yeah, yeah, I know. Yeah, it seems like it's kind of understood anymore. If someone on their channel says, send me a message, they understand that you're actually telling them to go over to Instagram, send me a message, which maybe you should look into that, since they definitely don't want people going off platform.
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
So with the whole shutdown of the country and the inability to travel since you're doing so much travel.
Right.
What are your plans for your channel now? What are
Right.
you thinking about? I know, even the Bogey brothers, who are very adamant about like knocking it out, are just like, we're just kind of running out of things to do. We're going to have to change format, or we're going to have to just not do this anymore, until this is over.
Yeah.
So, fortunate enough that hopefully we'll be able to do something with them. But what's the plans for your channel right now?
Right. So fortunately, I do still have some videos on the docket that I can kind of go through. And I did take a trip. This was right kind of before the COVID news was breaking across the country. And this was a trip down to Florida. So flew into Jacksonville and then went to play the ocean course at Hammock Beach as part of like a big golf event. So I have a ton of videos from that I'm working on right now. And then I think as far as like kind of once I get caught up on all of my content, and if Georgia, closes its golf courses or something, then I'm forced to kind of maybe stay inside. I think at that point I would probably just do a little bit more of kind of reviewing what I have, talking about some different golf purchases I've made. I have a pair of true golf shoes that I recently bought, and it's one of those social media kind of brands that I saw, and I was curious about whether I liked them. So maybe kind of looking at like, what do I have that I could kind of talk about and review, and then secondly is kind of doing what we're doing here. I've also been thinking about how can I virtually kind of have conversations with other creators and kind of bring value that way if we're not able to travel and get out to the golf course and play. If we're all just at home, we might as well kind of be working together and cross collaborating. So I'm really happy that you invited me to share this conversation with you.
Yeah. Well, I certainly appreciate your time. I know that you are busy. You are still working remotely and do have to get back to your job. So, Dougie, I really appreciate your time today. Wish you all the best. And everybody, definitely check out Dougie. Give him a follow. He's on Instagram. What's your Instagram handle?
My handle is just Dougie Barnard, my name.
Okay, so YouTube and Instagram, the same. He's got a lot of great content. One of the things I really enjoy about Dougie is that he's very much about promoting the game and really very selfless stuff, promoting a lot of other people. I think you have a little thing on Instagram right now where you're taking I believe all these people trying to do different trick shots,
that's right.
See, you're trying to do your own, but you're also promoting a lot
That's
of
right.
other people. So I think that's really great. So give Dougie a follow. Thanks, Doug. Have a great day.
Fredrick, thanks for your time, man. Hope we can tee it up together sometime.
We will. We absolutely will. Take care.
All right. See ya.
Bye.